years of fighting for the family, standing for the church, laboring to return to a moral and biblically based culture. This is the American Family Association at AFA Today.
And from the very fun and interactive city of New York, if you're watching on the AFA channel, that's a shot of Times Square live right this second. But as you can see, a crisp and beautiful fall day in effect. And that means that those of us that are here in the AFA Today studios are laboring so that you have the benefit of our labors. But really deep down inside, we'd rather be out there running around in the sunshine, enjoying the good weather while we've still got it. Kevin McCullough, welcome. Glad you're with us today. Glad that we didn't have another mass shooting today or anything like that. Those days are hard. The families are still in mourning. There's still a lot of questions about what happened yesterday. One of the things that I find that's interesting about this is that the press is having a hard time coming up with blame for anyone. They wanted to say that it was an AR-15 that the guy was using. CNN had to report this morning that the police only found a shotgun and 2 handguns. No AR-15 on the campus. That didn't stop the press from just putting it all over the place out there as though the AR-15 was the culprit. I said this for multiple hours of national radio yesterday. But we have a sin problem. We have a heart problem. And when things like that happen, it just highlights it. But it's not a 1, 2, 3 quick fix issue where we just we'll just ban AR-15s and we'll take care of it. No, we may have a whole nother set of problems if we just think that just banning AR-15s are going to take care of it. The truth is, this was a disturbed human being who had a record on a couple of different levels, had shot a bullet into an apartment complex because he didn't like the noise that was coming from it. So there were red flags. This guy was trouble. He's been through what the military is calling deep and serious psychological evaluations and counseling in the past, and yet somehow he still got security clearance, was able to get onto the base, and what happened yesterday. There's 13 now victims total from it. But we're grateful that we didn't wake up to another day of that today. And every day that we don't is a good day, and we need to be giving thanks to God for that and his faithfulness at the end of it all. Kevin McCullough, because we took so much time to talk about that yesterday, there were some stories that we just did not get to, some that we still need to, and one that I want to. This is going to be very weird, and I don't want Tim Wildman to have a heart attack or Brian Fisher to just fall dead of stroke in his office back behind the studios. I'm going to applaud some people of the gay community today on this broadcast. I'm not saying that they got everything right and that all wounds are healed. Not even close. We still got lots of issues. But one of the things that has bothered me in recent years, and if you don't live near a large city, you don't see this as much. But every large city in America now has what's called an annual Pride Parade, where I can't even describe to you half the things that go on at them because just the mere telling of what it is so obscene that it shouldn't even be put on radio. I mean, that's part of the obvious problem with these events. But they are large events. The cities that put them on, some of them put them on because they make a lot of money for the city. There's a lot of tourism. There's a lot of people that come from all over to be part of it. Whatever it is, I don't get it. I don't go to them. But if you've ever seen coverage of one, if you've ever YouTubed a little video footage to see what a pride parade looks like, you're quickly covering your children's eyes if they're anywhere near the computer. And the reason is because these events have become so outlandishly perverse, provocative, unfiltered, unclothed, sex acts simulated, sex acts performed, and no one has said anything. Every state where these events take place, there are decency laws on the books. Even in the most liberal states, even in San Francisco, there's decency laws in effect in San Francisco. You go all over the country, every city that these things take place in, there are decency laws already on the books. So if you wanted to just get down to your ever-loving birthday suit and walk down the street, somebody would come and slap cuffs on you and take you away because it would be deemed indecent to do that act. But if it's in the context of a pride parade, whether it's our nation's capital, going by Trinity Church in New York City, the nation's oldest church, whether it's right there in Dallas near First Baptist, wherever they take place, wherever they are, these events, these grotesque sexual exercises that have been attended by tens of thousands of people and that, almost hold the city hostage if the city doesn't cooperate with putting them on. I mean, that's how bully tactics have been used in this matter. But for almost since the beginning of the modern sexual activist movement, you have had the most profane, illicit, indecent, profane expressions of public sex in every way that you can, that I don't even want to say you can imagine. I don't want you to imagine them. They just put it out there. But today, I want to say thank you to at least a couple of members of the gay community, because in Dallas, Texas, a couple of people that are openly participate in homosexuality have sided with the city and with the police department to encourage that city and to agree with the enforcement in that city of actual decency standards in their upcoming Pride Parade. Let me give you the details. Okay, so there's a Dallas policeman named Jeremy Libby, I think is how you pronounce his name. He's an open homosexual. He's out. He's told the world, I like men. He has been tasked with overseeing 95 police officers that are going to be along this parade route this coming Sunday in Dallas. And the job that he's given them is to enforce the decency standards of the city of Dallas. So what in essence will happen here is that anyone who violates the decency standards, if they're in line to get into the parade and they're not dressed appropriately or they're doing things that they're not supposed to be doing, et cetera, then they're going to be given a warning and they can then cover up or stop doing what they're doing, et cetera, et cetera. But if they do it once the parade route starts, then they will be removed from the parade and charged with criminal indecent exposure. Now, in the past, and if you've got small kids near the radio, please cover their ears. I'm not trying to be salacious. I just want you to understand the gravity of this. In the past, they've had women that have been fully topless. They have had men that have had see-through bottoms on, or not necessarily see-through, but then they wet them down, and so then it's the same thing. But in the past, that's what they have had. And then they've had just bare naked people doing things on floats as well, and that's whatever. So you've got all of these, and what is interesting about this is you have this police officer who's an open homosexual, but he's going to enforce the decency standards. He's got 95 cops that are going to do it with him. And then there's another gentleman. His name is Daniel. No, that's not. No, that's not it. Michael Doman is the other one. He's the executive director of the organization that puts on the parade, and I believe he is also openly gay. So you have these two men, and he's the one saying, express yourself fine, but to do it by being naked or sexually aroused or in any way indecent in the parade route, That's not what our movement is about. That's not what this is about. You're going to be removed from everything involved. Da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so you have these two men, and the city of Dallas is applauding this, and families all across North Texas are going, yay, this is good. But here's the really funny part. Weird part. Funny, weird, not funny, humorous. You have sexual activists that want to march in this parade. And by the way, this story is on LifeSite News, but I'll update it to the Facebook page when we get into the break. You have activists that they live to go on this parade every year. And they are basically saying that if they are not allowed to do these indecent things, these profane things, these sexually illicit things, that then they are some way still being held back from exercising their constitutional rights. And so now the activists, the radicals, are now protesting both the gay policeman and the gay organizer, trying to put pressure on them to revert in their position and to say, no, if you're gay, do it anyway. And they're actually sending out memos to other activists, and they're trying to rally a national outcry for this and so forth. But so far, these two men, one in the group that organizes the thing and the man that's on the staff of the Dallas Police Force, these two men are saying, no, this isn't what we are about as people. This shouldn't be what our parade is about. And so we're going to side with the families of Texas and the people of Texas and say we're going to protect our children, protect the state's children from inappropriate material. Because these parades are held on public streets. They go down public routes. People that are on side streets, et cetera, you can't be sure what you're going to see or not see. And this has been my objection to all of the gay pride events for the last 10 years. I don't want them in my city. I can't do anything about it. I've kicked and screamed and yelled on the radio for years. It's done no good. But I think that this is by two people that are kind of, putting themselves in harm's way from the group of people that they normally associate with. They're getting major pushback on this. They're standing strong so far, saying we're not going to allow those things to be done. I did not know this until this story came out, but evidently part of the, quote, gay struggle, the homosexual struggle that they see themselves in, is this thing called sexual positivity, which literally, I guess, means just do whatever you want, wherever you want, with whoever you want. That's part of the signature understanding of the movement, the sexual movement, and why it's so important to have these parades so that you can have these indecent things out there. I think it's a great thing that the Dallas Police Force is going to enforce this, that you have a couple of guys, even from the gay community, that are spearheading this, and even though I disagree with them on probably everything else in life, I think that we owe those two gentlemen a thank you for at least stepping up and saying the children of Texas deserve to be protected. Your thoughts on this? 888-589-8840. Some people say, no, you shouldn't thank them anyway. I think that they're helping the families of Texas. I think that's a good thing. I'm not just going to curse darkness. I'm going to praise the light when it shows up too. Kevin McCullough, AFA Today, coming right back.